So Algebra 1, this lesson will cover 1-4 and 1-5. What we're going to do today is add. So 1-4 is going to basically do almost all whole numbers. 1-5 does a bunch of other kinds of numbers that aren't whole numbers, but I figure we might as well just jam this into a day because I don't think we need 2 days to cover the two different things. So you should have in your hands a sheet of notes that says Algebra 1, 1-4, and 1-5 notes. So let's add to your paper somewhere right about here, like 3 rules for you to have. On Monday, next time I see you, we're going to do a 3-point quiz, and it'll say, tell me the rules for adding, and you'll hit me back with the 3 rules that we're about to throw on your paper and use. So somebody give me what's one of the rules of a type of way an adding problem can go. Yes? That's true, and I'll say, I'll hunt for one more word. I'll say positive plus positive equals positive, and then we'll go one more word there. We can come back. Somebody give me another scenario.
Negative plus negative is negative.
Okay, and I'll hunt one more word there. That's also true. Negative plus negative is negative. We're going to hunt one more word. How about when they're different?
Positive plus negative plus negative.
Not necessarily.
Depends on which one's bigger.
Okay, and then we're going to hunt one more word. So 2 positives is positive, 2 negatives is negative. When they're different, it doesn't matter what order you put them in, but one of each is going to depend on which one's bigger.
When they're different, to subtract.
Yes.
And then when they're the same, both things are to add.
That's correct. So full rule, positive plus positive equals positive. Throw down the word add. And you can just put P for positive. You don't have to write out that whole word when we do that as a quiz. I think the quiz, it's about like this big. It's like this little tiny sliver of paper. But positive plus positive makes positive, we add. Negative plus negative makes negative, we add. One of each, whatever order you put them in, P plus N or N plus P. Use the word depends on who's bigger, and we're going to subtract. So what we'll do now is try to use those rules 10 times. So the first 10, just do the first 10 real quick. Why don't we hit the stop on the video? People watching the video could pause and it'll resume in a minute. So top 10, let's verify we know what we're doing before we move on. So here's answers to the top 10. Anybody with confidence, hit them. Yeah.
-2.
Keep talking.
6. -6. 2. 0. -10. 4. 10. 0.
10 for 10. So run back on that. -2, +6, -6, +2, 0. Then starting with 6's group, -10, +4, +10, 0, -4. Does anybody need any help to clear those up? Because we need to get those ironed out before we advance to the decimals. Are a little harder. Anybody need guidance? Top 10? Okay, so decimals, a couple things to keep in mind. Adding or subtracting decimals, what's your key move for how we get that going?
Line them up.
Line up the decimals. So when we go to do 11, the 2 has to line up with 3, the 3 lines up with the 7. We need to build these stacks so that the decimal points line up with the decimal points. If you're getting one of those rules that makes you add, it doesn't matter how you stack the numbers. Just stack them however you want to stack them. It doesn't make any difference. But if you're subtracting, you have to stack the number with the bigger value on the top. Like for example on 13. The 5.7 number has to stack on the top of the 3.8 if you're going to subtract those, because the 5.7 has the bigger value than the 3.8. It's less of a mathematical worth because it's a negative number, but it's the bigger number. The bigger number, the number with the bigger value has to be the number on the top of your stack. So that's 11 to 14. Take a minute, try those 4, line up the decimals. If you have to stack them to subtract, stack the bigger value on top. If you're adding, no one cares what order they go in, and just fire them off. And then why don't you hit me a quick stop, and the viewers at home can pause. Okay, so here's our decimal quartet, 11 to 14. Anybody confident in your 11 14s?
1.4.
Keep talking.
-6.11.
Okay.
-2.91.
Keep talking.
And 9.356.
I like 3 of those 4.
-1.941.
For 13?
Yeah.
I agree with that too. No. Yep. 11, I agree, 1.4. 12, I agreed, negative 6.11. 13 is the one we had a little bit of variation on. So check our borrowing and stuff. That's a rule where they're different and we have to subtract. So maybe there's like a borrowing thing going on. Make sure the 5.7 stacked on top. But negative 1.941 is a winner there. And then 14 is 9.356. If that's not enough info, I'll help you tune them up. Does anybody need some help tuning up? Yeah, so 13, do you have the 5.741 stacked on top?
Yep.
And then when you go to subtract, you drop the 1, drop the 4.
Oh, I know what I did. I copied it wrong.
Okay,
That was it.
got it then?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else need help tuning up 11 to 14?
Can we do 14?
14. So you can stack them in any order you want to stack them. Make sure the decimals are lined up. So the 6 will have nothing lined up with it, so drop that on the right edge. Similarly, drop the 5 down. The 3 will add the 0 to make it 3. Decimal getting toward the beginning, and the 8 and the 1 to do the 9.356. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else, anything there to 14? Anything to tune up? Okay, 15 to 18, we go into fraction land. So adding in fraction land, how do we add in fraction land?
First make a common denominator.
First you make a common denominator, which means you probably change the bottoms, and if you change the bottoms, you have to change the tops. If you get lucky and you don't have to change the bottom,
You keep the top the
you
same.
just keep the top the same. But most of the time the bottom changes, most of the time the tops will both change, and then you just do the rules. Do the rules the way that we were doing the rules before. The bottom stays the same into the answer, the top, do like we did with 1 to 10. Anybody need a little bit more guidance on how to on any of that? Okay, let's pause that video up again and we'll wait till we get those 4 punched out. Okay, so bottom 4, okay, what do you think?
Negative 7 over 24, positive 4 over 45, 1 over 9, and 111 over 20, or 31 over 20.
I think you either, I misheard or you missaid or misfigured the bottom on 16. What did you think for the bottom on 16?
4 over 45.
Okay, rethink that bottom.
I meant 35.
Correct.
Sorry, I said it
Yeah,
wrong.
so I'm with that then. So 15 is negative 7 on top of 24. 16 is 4 on top of 35. 17 is 1 on top of 9. 18, you could go 31 on top of 20. Or you could go mixed number and have 1, and then 11, 20. That's kind of like up to your own personal style, which way you prefer to represent those. Does anybody need help to tune up any of the fraction zone?
17.
17. Are you okay with 9 for the bottom, or did you do 27?
I didn't do
Okay. What you wanted, 18? What did you have for bottom?
for 17.
Yeah. It just
I already
confused.
erased it.
Okay, so you're not sure.
Yeah.
What we need to do is figure out any number that 3 and 9 both go into. So the smallest thing that 3 and 9 both go into would be to go with 9. But if you did 18 or 27, there's lots of other numbers you could use, but if you use a bigger version of that, you'll have to reduce. So going with 9 will be the quickest way to do it, but not the only way to do it. Do you understand why 9 is good?
Yeah.
Okay, then the second fraction, since it already has that 9, just leave it be. The first fraction, if you're going to turn the 3 into a 9, you're multiplying by 3 to do that. So you'd multiply the 2 also by 3, and the 2 is now a 6. Are you with the 2 becoming a 6?
Yeah.
Then we'll just do the rules from before. There's a positive 6 that beats out a negative 5, beats it out by 1. We're going to subtract that because they're different types, positive fighting negatives. So 1/9 will be the winner.
Okay.
Anything else? Anybody on the fraction 4 at the bottom? Okay, so we've got about 20 minutes left, so we'll just jump in, get some homework started if you wish to, get some progress made. So we're going to go 2 locations. We're going to go page 20, which you could easily punch out page 20 in the time that we have remaining. Page 20, you could probably do in about 5 minutes or less. Page 20, we're going to just go from 1 to 24. Those are all whole numbers. So we punched out 10 of these on the worksheet in what, like a minute?
Yeah.
So we should be able to punch out that 24 almost instantly. Then the thing that's going to take you a little bit more time that might need to go out of the room with you is on page 24. On page 24, the numbers get a little bigger. They throw in some decimals, they throw in some fractions, they do some other stuff. 24, we're going to go 1 to 22 and then have a little gap. And then try 38. 38 brings in absolute values, which we had the other day. And then also do 42, which brings in not just absolute values from the other day, but also the thing where we replace the letters with numbers called evaluating expressions. So we're on that page again, straight to 22, and then add on a 38, add on a 42. You might be able to get that all done in the period, but certainly that first page, easily you'll be able to punch that first page out.
Yeah, I used to.
Sure. And then can you shut that down once and for all? And we're done for the day with the recorder.